Am I the a-hole for demanding respect from my daughter-in-law, and if she can't, get the heck out? I'm a young mother-in-law at only 39. I had my kids pretty young, and I am very lucky that my husband makes a lot of money, so I don't have to work. I was a stay-at-home mom for a long time, and once they started to spread their wings instead of going to work, my husband and I decided I would be a homemaker and be active in the community. That's what I have been up to, and I try to make the community a better place. Now, my oldest son, 22, is married and I was really excited until I met her. In general, she is a very business-focused person that is very blunt. I actively dislike her, but I try to be polite for my son's sake. A few examples of why I don't like her. Her wedding gift I handed over saying it was for me and my husband. She responded back with, "Just your husband, since I know it wasn't your money that paid for it." Saying I'm volunteering, but well, that's not a real job since it doesn't make money. It's passive-aggressive, and yes, I've talked to my son about it, and even once with her to try to clear the air. We had a get-together last night, and I made a homemade meal. When I was placing everything, she came up to me and made a comment that no wonder I could make a home-cooked meal. I don't do anything else with my day. I lost it and told her that she needs to respect me or get the heck out of my house. She was shocked and then started to cry when I did kick her out. My son is mad and we had a huge argument, and he called me a huge a-hole. Now I need an outside opinion. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Wow, she's a total a-hole. Just because you don't conform to her business-focused personality doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. What you and your husband have works for the two of you, and you volunteer for the community. Whether it pays or not doesn't take away from your commitment and responsibility to show to others. Daughter-in-law is a piece of work. What does husband say to all of this? My husband hates her, and I had to drag him to the wedding, only so it wouldn't destroy his and our son's relationship. Look, I hate to say this, but it sounds like your son doesn't respect you. She acted like she was better than you, more than once, and your son should have nipped that in the bud first time. Basic respect for partners' parents should be a hill to die on, in my opinion. Honestly, you should sit him down, the three of you without a daughter-in-law, and see what the heck is going on. This woman might be twisting facts or not, but if he can't see how wrong her behavior is and doesn't check her, I just minimize the contact with both for as long as needed, preferably till it comes to his senses. Agreeing with this and adding, please make sure you tell your son you both love him, and if/when this marriage ends, he should know he can count on you both for support. You are definitely not the only person daughter-in-law is treating this way. Eventually, he will recognize the pattern that he married an a-hole, and hopefully he'll be able to get out. You can keep a firm boundary about how she treats you and still let him know he's welcome to come home when it implodes with her. Not the a-hole. Holy crap. She's putting you down for being a stay-at-home mom for what? Shits and giggles? That's very small of her. She's the a-hole, and the fact that you've talked to your son about this and how he's most likely seen her makes these comments makes him an a-hole too. I firmly believe that you don't marry someone because they get along with your family, but that doesn't mean they get to treat your family like trash. Jealousy. Dollars to donuts, the daughter-in-law tries to finagle her way into being a stay-at-home mom before this business-focused shell cracks. Not the a-hole. How on earth could your son be justifying this behavior? He says it's cultural, but this woman was raised in the same country as me and is the same race. So I don't know how it's cultural to be a prick. It's cultural to disrespect your boyfriend's mom in her own home? Lol. Your son is full of it, and he knows it. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to wear my sister-in-law's wedding dress to my wedding? I'm 23 female. I'm getting married to my fiancé, 24 male in a month. He has an identical twin brother, with whom he's keeping a bit of a distance with because of his past possessive behavior of wanting to share everything with each other, from interests, hobbies, and even friends. His brother got eloped to his wife, 27 female, and even suggested to my fiancé to do the same on the same day as him. But of course, he shut that down quickly as we both agreed on having a wedding already. However, I ended up being contacted by my fiancé's brother requesting me to wear his wife's wedding dress from their elopement to my wedding, which I obviously turned down, telling him that I've already got a specific wedding dress in my mind. He dropped the subject, and for 2 weeks I didn't hear about it again, so I thought that was the end of it. But yesterday, my fiancé's brother and his wife showed up at our house and invited, may I add, got up sister-in-law's wedding dress, and then literally asked me to try out right here, and that they'd make adjustments if the size doesn't fit. Thank God my husband stepped in and kicked them both out of our house, even though it did end up with a really big argument between my fiancé and his brother. I got contacted again later on by my brother-in-law, who said that my inability to make any compromises in order for his and his brother's wedding experiences to be intertwined is straining their relationship. Honestly, at this point, I'm just getting the creeps from brother-in-law, and my gut's telling me that him and sister-in-law may attempt to sabotage our wedding out of revenge. And even my husband agrees with the sentiment. We're now strongly considering to uninvite both my brother-in-law and sister-in-law from our wedding, but my husband's still a bit reluctant to do it yet because of the inevitable drama it'll cause with his family. Am I the a-hole? Compromises? What compromises? Your wedding is between you and your future husband. Your brother-in-law is delusional for thinking he has a say in your wedding, not the a-hole. He wants my fiancé to have a similar wedding experience as him at any cost. He even tried to guilt trip us about the dress thing by saying that he already accepted we want a wedding instead of eloping like them. His entitlement is honestly getting out of hand at this point. Not the a-hole. Your fiancé and brother-in-law are not 5 anymore, where they have to wear matching outfits and share toys. This is you and your fiancé's wedding, not your brother-in-law and sister-in-law. They had their day. You have yours the way you both want without your brother-in-law inserting himself. By the way, what is your mother-in-law's stance on all this? According to my fiancé, their mom always find it adorable how his brother wanted to share and do everything together with him when they were children. And I don't think that stance from her has changed. Especially because my fiancé is sure she'll completely object to him and inviting his brother from his wedding if it gets there. I'm sure it was cute when they were 5, not so much at 25. I'm imagining sister-in-law showing up to the wedding in her wedding dress wanting pictures with the groom. Not gonna lie, my sister-in-law showing up in her wedding dress to my wedding is one of the things I fear may happen, especially after she made a comment about her dress looking too good to be used only once. Tell her she's supposed to have it put away to pass down to her children someday, not to use it to try to relive her wedding day vicariously through you. Not the a-hole. That is creepy. I suggest passwords with all your vendors just in case. And a bouncer. Your wedding planner, security, someone to make sure your wedding and reception stays your way. Someone who will turn away anyone not invited or wearing a wedding dress who isn't you. This. I've read too many stories about psycho family members who changed the actual wedding couple's plans without their knowledge. And you picked a password, since the twin might be really good at guessing what his brother would pick. Make sure all planners, caterers, etc. know that the groom has an identical twin who's looking to cause trouble. If they're being this weird, his brother showing up to these places as him probably isn't as unlikely as you'd hope. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not inviting my sister to my baby shower? My husband and I have been trying to have a baby for several years. We had a really hard time conceiving, but after a few years of trying, we finally got pregnant. We told our family the news and told them the baby names we had picked, Violet for a girl and Carson for a boy. We unfortunately lost the baby in the second trimester. Then we experienced 2 more miscarriages and went through a couple more rounds of failed IVF. It was a very difficult and traumatic time for us. We visited my family over the 2022 winter holidays, and my sister announced that she was pregnant. I was genuinely happy for her, until she told us the names they'd chosen. Violet for a girl, Carson for a boy. I took her aside and told her that I was very happy for her pregnancy, but hurt and confused that she would choose our baby names, especially with everything we've been through. And she basically said, "Don't try to pull the miscarriage card on me. You can't call dibs on a name." I tried talking to her a couple more times about it, but each time she'd say things like, "You might never have kids. You can't just keep those names in reserve forever," and was just so hurtful. I stopped bringing it up for the sake of keeping the peace, and after a few months, she told my parents she wasn't going to use either of those names, but wouldn't tell anybody what name they had chosen. Fast forward to a couple months ago, and she gave birth to her baby girl, Violetta Carson. And I'm just so hurt. I found out in the early spring that I'm pregnant, and I'm far enough along now that the doctors feel pretty good about everything, and we let our families know last month. My mom and her friends have planned a baby shower, but I told her I do not want my sister invited. My mom said I'm being an a-hole for not inviting her over the baby's name, but at this point it's not even about the name to me anymore. It's the malicious comments, the lack of compassion, and the overall pettiness. So tell me, good people of Reddit, am I the a-hole for not inviting my sister to my baby shower? Edit for further context. Prior to this, my sister and I were in decent terms. She's always been competitive and attention-seeking, and growing up, she'd find ways to one-up me or make my special occasions like my birthday party or high school graduation all about her. But never to this extent. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. I'm usually on team you can't call dibs on a name. But the fact that she chose both names you had picked, it is completely dismissive of the pain caused by miscarriage, makes it seem like this is more about hurting you than choosing a name she really likes. She used both names, but changed them both significantly. What the hell is that about? It's about technically being able to say that she didn't use her sister's baby names, which, whatever, still a prick move. Well, she's now stuck with her daughter having Carson for a middle name, so Opie gets the last laugh. I realize people can't call dibs on names, but the lack of compassion demonstrated by her sister is poor form. Her alternative spellings of both names seem spiteful. You're not the a-hole for not wanting her at the baby shower. Have nice people there to share your joy. Imagine being so competitive and vindictive you ruin your child's life to stick it to your sister. Yeah, she took two beautiful names and completely butchered them. I honestly think I'd feel more sorry for her than anything else. You're not the a-hole. Sounds like your mom is in some denial about how her other daughter has behaved all her life. She's always been competitive and attention-seeking, and growing up, she'd find ways to one-up me or make my special occasions, like my birthday party or high school graduation, all about her. And your mom doesn't see the problem? No, it's not just about the name. It's about narcissistic egotism, lies, and mocking your tragedies. Not the a-hole OP. Her mom doesn't see the problem because her head is so far up sister's butt. You can tell this is a typical golden child syndrome probably caused by the mother. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife to work more if she wants to help her sister financially? My wife, 38 female, and I, 37 male, have been married for 12 years and have 3 kids, 10, 8, and 5. We both work full-time and have the kids in daycare during the summer until school starts up again. We both make decent money, but with the cost of literally everything going up more and more often, our budget is getting tighter. We still live comfortably within our means, but we are saving much less and are being more conscious of our discretionary spending. Our youngest is starting kindergarten this fall, so that will help because we aren't spending on daycare anymore. But our oldest kids are now in more sports and extracurricular activities, which pretty much offset any saving we would be doing in childcare. We aren't anywhere near struggling, but we are definitely more aware of how we spend our money now. My wife's younger sister Jen, 30 female, is 6 months pregnant with her 3rd child. Jen is not married, and this is her 3rd different baby daddy. Only one of the first 2 fathers is involved. The other is a complete deadbeat who regularly skips child support payments. Jen recently called my wife and told her that her current baby's dad left her and she's freaking out and asking for help. Whether that be money, a place to stay, anything. My wife's parents both passed away and they have no other siblings, just each other. So obviously my wife wants to do whatever we can to help. But we don't have the space to house them and don't have a lot of extra money to give them either. My wife wants to give Jen a few $100s every month and to start watching her 2 older kids so Jen can keep working. Personally, I think that idea is short-sighted because Jen won't be able to work after the new baby comes. My idea was to dip into savings and pay for a lawyer for Jen to do a better job for getting the child support she's owed. I would rather bite a bigger bullet once than death by 1,000 cuts over months and months. But my wife says that won't help put food on Jen's table every week. So I laid out our budget and asked my wife where we can make cuts to support Jen because I just don't see it. I asked her what she would be willing to give up or have our kids go without to support Jen. She got mad at me and called me heartless for not wanting to help. It turned into a fight, and I ended up telling her that if she wants to support her sister like this, then she is going to need to work more or get a second job because I'm not compromising our family budget long term. All of our finances are shared, so it's not like either of us has our own money to use however we want. I also know that my wife and I are the only family Jen has, and I agree that we should help. But adding hundreds or possibly more to our monthly budget isn't going to work. Jen needs more help than we can provide and she needs to find resources that can do that for her. But my wife thinks I am being an uncaring a-hole about this. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Someone might want to explain to Jen what keeps causing these pregnancies. You have no idea how hard I had to bite my tongue to keep myself from bringing this up. But that would have done nothing but add fuel to the fire. No point in making this worse than it is. You seem very level-headed about all of this. It's a difficult situation, but I think you've been fair in presenting the options and trying to think long-term, and getting her the child support she's owed sounds like the best idea to me. Not the a-hole. Ask her what she would be willing to give up, or have our kids go without to support Jen. She dodged the question that needs to be asked and played a guilt trip on top of it. Not the a-hole. Stay the course. Your sister-in-law has made her own bed and can continue lying in it. This OP. Your home and your children should not be punished or suffer the consequences of your sister-in-law's decisions. What will happen if there is a fourth or even a fifth nephew? Is it going to be a constant situation in which your children cannot have benefits for this? Your sister-in-law has to deal with the consequences of her actions and put her life in order. Otherwise, her behavior will only escalate and you will be the ones harmed by it. Not the a-hole. Stand your ground. As someone has suffered more than one instance of deadbeat aunt needs help, be mindful of your kids. They see and understand way more than you think they do. Update. Am I the a-hole for telling my ex-boyfriend that he deserves to be alone and using his sterility against him? Original post. I, 33 female, had been with my ex-boyfriend, 34 male, for almost 10 years. He was my first love, and I can't describe how much I loved him. We have known each other since primary school. We became friends immediately. We really enjoyed each other's company because we shared the same sense of humor and beliefs. We fell in love and started dating at 19. We live both in Europe, but he is from a different country. His family is very conservative, and they never approved of our relationship. They wanted him to date a girl from their culture. I tried everything to please them. I learned his mother language, and I respected his family, and never said a bad word to them. We even have the same religion. I did not convert for him. I was born in the same religion. His parents even told me that I'm a nice girl. But I'm simply from the wrong culture, and they would lose face if he would marry me. My ex always had my back, as well as his sister. She was the only one who was welcoming towards me. He told his parents that I'm the love of his life, and he is going to either marry me or not at all. Apart from the problems with his family, we had a great relationship. We were each other's first relationship, and we also had our first time together. Of course we fought, like every couple, but just about silly things. We were really compatible, and he simply was my soulmate, or so I thought. This makes the following even more devastating. About 5 years ago, he suddenly broke up with me. The breakup came out of the blue, and I didn't expect it. He told me that his parents found him a wife from his culture, and he accepted to marry her. They already met and settled on a date for the engagement. He told me that he loved me, but his parents would never accept me since it had already been 10 years, and says he didn't want to waste more time and start a family. We waited for his parents' blessing, since we didn't want to welcome a child into this mess. After that, he blocked me and my family and friends and everything. I tried to reach his sister, but she had blocked me too. He and his family moved into a different city, and I was left behind with so many questions nobody could answer me. Why now? Why did he have my back for 10 years just to abandon me in a sec? I was heartbroken. I'm not gonna lie, it was a very dark period in my life. I only got through it due to my loving family and friends, who supported me through every step of healing. It took me a very long time to trust again. I stayed single for almost 4 years. Then about a year ago, I met my current boyfriend. I really thought I'm not able to trust and love again, but he healed every inch of my heart. He is just the sweetest and funniest guy on earth. 2 weeks ago, my ex contacted me on Facebook with a fake account. He gave me a long apology for the way he treated me and said he never stopped loving me, blah blah blah. I called BS and told him to not waste my time and to just spill the beans. He told me that he couldn't have children, and his wife divorced him because she wanted biological kids. In his culture, most people won't adopt. And he remembered that I always wanted to adopt. He then told me that we can finally be together, since his parents know that it would be hard to find a woman from their culture who doesn't want bio children. Suddenly, they're all over the moon for us getting back together. I simply wrote back, I'm in a happy relationship and don't want you in my life. After the way you treated me, I have absolutely no empathy left for you. You deserve to be alone. I don't want to waste more time and start my own family. And since you're not capable of giving me children, it's good that you're gone. I blocked him after that. His sister called me a few days later and told me that my ex is really hurt about what I said and to please give him another chance to explain himself. I told her that I really don't care about him anymore and to never contact me again. But after I calmed down, I kinda regret using his sterility against him. Anger got the best of me in that moment. I just wanted to be done with him as fast as possible, and to be honest, I wanted to hurt him like it had hurt me. But now I kinda regret it. My boyfriend says he deserved it, but he loves me and might be biased. Same with my family and friends. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Your anger is definitely understandable. He blew it when he let his parents and culture decide his love life. Do his parents not lose face if he remains a bachelor? And he's got some nerve reaching out after 5 years and treating you like a backup plan. However, you could have taken the high road and simply said, no, you hurt me terribly, and it took me a long time to heal from it. I've moved on with another man, and I have zero interest in going back. I suggest you move on with a new woman who accepts you. And this time, don't let your family or culture break you up. Also, I don't like what his reaching out is doing to me. I fought really hard to get over him, and now he has the audacity to come back and open old wounds? I was in such a good place, and now I just feel angry. That he came back just shows that he never cared about me in the first place. I love my new boyfriend, and I would never get back with ex. I'm still angry though. It sounds all understandable how you reacted. It might be a good idea to check in with a coach or therapist. Him leaving the first time around caused you trauma. A few chats can make you sure you grow past it. He sounds like he's not worth the anger it's causing. I saw a coach for that matter after we broke up. I have an appointment with him next week. Honestly, the comments and support here, as well as just writing everything down, helped me to realize that I don't need to feel guilty. I'm happy that I dodged a bullet. Not a-hole. What did he expect? That you would be sitting around waiting for him to change his mind or something? He deserves every word you said, and then some. Hopefully you and your current boyfriend are happy and prosperous in your life together. Put your past behind you and live your best life. It is truly the best revenge. That's exactly what he thought. Because in his deluded mind, he is God's gift to all women, and the world revolves around him. He needed a harsh and brutal reality check, and Opie gave him one. He got so hurt by the truth that his sister had to step in and call Opie. His whole family are beyond pathetic and desperate to get him married off face up before their conservative community and family members finds out he's infertile. The audacity of him and his disgusting family to think there is even a small chance that Opie leaves her boyfriend to marry an infertile man. You were not the a-hole. You were actually too nice to him. There is no excuse for a 30-year-old man living in 21st century Europe to do this to love of his life because his parents would not approve her. It was pathetic and selfish then, but it is over the roof now. So he and his sister are on Facebook? Personally, I would vent about all of it in an open Facebook post. Without holding back my words, it would bring me closure. And of course, I want to tag them both, and whoever else I want to tag. Thank you so much for your idea. It really made me laugh. But I don't want to give him any further attention. I don't want him to know that his sudden message opened up an old wound. I'd rather let him know that I don't care about him at all. I just want to move on with my life and be happy. Now for the first update. First of all, thank you so much for your kind words and really thoughtful input. You have no idea how much it helped me. So today my ex-boyfriend and his sister showed up at my door. I really didn't want to let them in, but my boyfriend told me that I maybe need to hear what they have to tell me to close this chapter of my life. So I let them in. My boyfriend went to our bedroom to give us room to talk, but he said I should call him if I needed him. My ex and his sister told me that their parents arranged a marriage for him 10 years ago with his ex-wife. Arranged marriages are apparently pretty common in his culture. He told me that he didn't want to marry her, but his parents guilt-tripped him into marrying her. They told him that the whole family would lose face if he doesn't oblige, and to think about his sisters. Who's gonna marry them if the family reputation is destroyed? He basically agreed into this marriage to protect the family reputation. His sister also apologized for blocking me. She told me that her parents had threatened her that they will cut all financial support if she ever had contact with me again. She was 19 and a student at that time, so I honestly understand and don't hold a grudge against her. I told her that as well. She told me that she started dating a man from another culture 3 years ago. Her parents basically put her through the same nonsense as they did with my ex. But she told them that she will not allow them to destroy her life, like they destroyed the life of my ex. She cut all contact with her family except for my ex. She then told me that he put her through college, maybe to show me that he is a good guy after all. At this point, my ex started crying. He told me that he is so sorry. When his sister cut contact, he thought about getting a divorce and begged me for forgiveness, but he was sure that I wouldn't take him back. He said that he never loved his ex-wife and that he only ever loved me and that he still loves me. He also cut contact with his parents a few days ago. He told me that he is very sorry for what happened and that he will try the rest of his life to make it up to me if I just give him one more chance and many more stuff. I just let him talk. Honestly, seeing him after all that time, I thought that I would be in a rage or cry or that meeting him would bring some emotion into the surface. Really, anything. I was really surprised. I was completely calm and I felt no deep feelings towards him. It was like a stranger was telling me a story. Of course, I felt sorry for him, but all that hurt and anger that I felt after his message was completely gone. After he finished, I apologized for holding his sterility against him. Then I told him that although I'm really sorry how his life went, there is absolutely no chance in getting back together. I told him that he is and will be my past, and that I don't want any further contact. That I love my boyfriend from the bottom of my heart, and that he's my future. He started crying more but said that he understands and wished me luck. His sister said that she would be happy to stay in contact. I told her that I'm really proud of her, that she had the courage to stand up against her parents, and that I wish her all the best in life. But I also think that some connections should stay in the past. She was sad, but also very understanding. She hugged me before they left and wished me a happy life with my boyfriend. It sounded sincere. Honestly, I'm happy that they showed up. It kinda helped me to get closure. And it showed me how lucky I am to have my boyfriend. Glad to hear this. It took your ex years to do what his sister did. He just cut off his parents a few days ago. He chose not to fight for you, and now that he is damaged goods and divorced, he was willing to come back to you. You were right to close that chapter of your life. May you have a wonderful life with your boyfriend. His sister would probably not been able to do so if she had not witnessed her brother's story before. It is unfair to compare siblings in every way, but specifically when it comes to dealing with a toxic family. There are studies on the matter that shows that as the older sibling always try to stay on track to comply to parents' BS because he cannot know better, the younger ones can realize that following the rules doesn't guarantee a good outcome, and so are more rebellious. It is thanks to her big brother's unfortunate turn of events in his love life that she knew better than listen to her parents. So when he thought he could have kids and actively trying to have kids, he was sure you wouldn't take him back. But now when he knows he is sterile, he was sure you will take him back? And his explanation for ghosting you was that no one will marry sisters in the 21st century Europe if he doesn't sacrifice himself to another woman? And what was his reason for not telling you all of this drama then, other than the lack of basic decency? Your ex is a very interesting guy. Yes, I dodged a bullet. I'm so happy that it didn't last. I feel really sorry for him. I hate these family-centered cultures that think parents have the right to arrange and control every aspect of their children's lives and make it so hard and guilt-riddled for the children to free themselves and live their own lives and make their own choices. But for you and him, it was simply too late. He completely destroyed your trust, not just by leaving you, but by how he left you. Maximum amount of pain and betrayal, zero amount of explanation, empathy, or any real effort to mitigate the damage. I'm glad you got closure, and I hope he'll be able to move on too. and I hope their parents die miserable and alone, and cut off from all of their offspring. I know now that the breakup was the best thing that happened to me. He was my first love, and I missed so many red flags. Now that I know how a healthy relationship looks like, I would never go back to that. I hope that he also finds closure and happiness. Oh, what were the red flags that you missed, if I may ask, apart from his bullying family? It's just that in your first post, you described him like he had been close to perfect. Well, we were together for 10 years, and he didn't propose because his parents were not ready. We didn't try for children because his parents were not accepting of us. Although he stood up for me when they said something mean, he really never acted towards building a future together, like proposing, for example. I just realized that he actually always put his parents' needs before mine. I was just so blind. He basically showed me again and again that he wouldn't choose me. Now for the last update. Hi guys, it's been a few weeks after my last post, and I just wanted to give you a small update about my life because you guys helped me so much. My boyfriend proposed on our anniversary some weeks ago, and I said yes. So we are going to marry at the end of September in a small ceremony, with only our family and a small group of friends. I'm also pregnant with our first child. Life couldn't be better right now, and sometimes I'm still afraid that it's just a dream. As for my ex, I ran into his sister today while shopping. We went for a coffee and she congratulated me. She told me that my ex already told her that I'm pregnant. Apparently, my sister posted a picture of my ultrasound on IG with the caption, "Can't wait to meet you." I don't use IG, so I wasn't aware of it. She told me that he had a meltdown and wanted to contact me and fight for my love. She told him to move on, since I'm obviously happy, and to not cause any issues. She told me that he was hurt by her words, but he knew that she is right, so he didn't contact me. I'm so thankful for her thoughtfulness. We chatted a bit more and then went our separate ways. I really hope that he finds happiness someday. I, for myself, decided that it's not healthy to hold grudges. I'm focusing on our baby and just being happy with my fiancé. Am I the a-hole for asking my sister to get lost and telling her that her pregnancy is not my problem? My 32 male have a sister Andrea, 27 female. The issue is that they have always showed her more preference. And although I was not badly treated, they hardly paid any attention to me. Because she's the golden child, I suppose. She herself treated me with disdain. Before our parents died, they left everything for her instead of splitting it with me and Will. I knew that she herself had been behind this. My parents literally told me, Andrea talked to us about how she's more deserving, and we can see how that makes sense. Do you have any objection to us giving everything to her? After all, you're older and should be more understanding, etc. I was disappointed, but just told them that I don't care and did not argue. That was a while ago. She got into some issue and had to mortgage the house, and squandered the wealth over a period of time. As she requires help now, she turned to me and asked me to help her. She's also pregnant right now. I refused and told her that I don't want anything to do with it, and that is not my problem. But she pleaded and cried so much that I felt bad. But I told her that she's got to reap what she's sown, and that is just karma getting back to her. In the end, she told me, I know how to tarnish your reputation by using this very pregnancy. In the end, I asked her to get lost and kicked her out of my house. She had shown up there to ask for help. I wonder whether I did anything, well, wrong, as she is my sister after all. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You do you. She's just going to have to figure life out herself. Thanks. It's just some people said that she's my family after all, and I got wondering. Family's an F-word if it's used to abuse others. You shouldn't feel obligated to continue bailing her out. Not the a-hole. Your sister screwed you over and now wants your help? She's so used to being the golden child and getting her way that she actually thought you would favor her too. Unbelievable. My sister is also the golden child and has lied over the decades to my parents, resulting in their rejection of me. In my opinion, this is a form of murder. Like her sister, she stole my parents from my life. There is nothing okay about this. I totally get your frustration, and I'm very sorry you lost her family this way. But this is not inherently your sister's fault. It's your parents for raising the two of you this way. In the end, it's them who created this situation by creating the monster that she is and letting her do the things she did. Not the a-hole. It sounds like she's used to having someone to bail her out, and now that your parents are gone, she expects you to take their place, especially since she has made a series of bad decisions. I suspect that even if you said just this once, if you did help her out, you would be opening the door to her constantly asking you for more and more. Exactly this. My older sister is the same way. Dad bailed her out of everything. Now that he's gone, she expects everyone else to fix her problems. She actually blamed me for not being able to keep her cat for her when I donated a kidney to another sister. Some people are just awful and not worth giving space in your brain. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my bully I feel no sympathy for her? There's this one girl, 17 female at school, who just got diagnosed with terminal cancer. She would bully me, 17 males, since I was 13. Usually just call me names and make snide remarks. But one time, she made fun of my dead mother, which is the one that stuck in my head for so long. It was constant and relentless bullying and made me feel low and inferior. She stopped at 16. My guess was because her father died in a car accident and realized how she made me feel, though she never apologized. So she got terminal cancer and made some big posts on her social media and got lots of attention. When she saw me in school, she was tearful and apologized for how she treated me. Honestly, I feel nothing. I said, I don't accept your apology, nor do I offer you my sympathies, and walked away. I could hear her cry even more. A friend agreed with what I did, but all her friends gave me grief. I tried to ignore them when I see them, but they just come at me like rabid animals and say stuff that I should say sorry and that I'm an a-hole. When her mother confronted me on what I said, telling me that I should have at least offered sympathy because she's dying, I only said, just means I no longer need to deal with her. Then blocked them all on social media. I don't know. Maybe I was too harsh? But if I'm being honest, I don't feel sympathy for her. I worked through my resentment with a therapist, and honestly, I feel nothing for her. No hatred, but no sympathy either. When she dies, it will just be another day for me. Maybe this makes me an a-hole, but I can't help how I feel, and I spoke what I've felt, just as she did. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. She was cruel to you for years. You are under no obligation to accept her apology or offer sympathy. We are in the fool around and find out era, and people need to realize there will always be consequences for their actions. Also, all these people giving YTA votes for what you said to her mother, which isn't even what you're asking judgment for, are wrong. This woman is also bullying you. Obviously, her daughter learned this behavior from somewhere, and I'm gonna say it was probably from mom. Yeah, their worlds have changed drastically over the last year, but that doesn't mean you automatically have to give them any sympathy or forgiveness. And as one commenter said, maybe she should have parented her child better. If either of them or her friends continue to harass you, especially in school campus, report every single one of them to the admin. When I was in high school, a family member who I despised because she was a truly evil person passed away slowly and painfully from cancer. It wasn't a death I'd wish on anyone. That said, I wasn't sad she was gone, and that felt wrong to me, like I should at least think good of her now. When I expressed all that to my mom, she said something that has stuck with me to this day. Just because someone dies, even if they die in a terrible way, it doesn't suddenly mean they were a good person. Similarly, this girl is suffering something awful, and it's tragic. But that doesn't automatically mean she's forgiven for everything she's done. There was a guy in high school who died after he was hit by a car, and the entire school, tiny charter school, made a huge deal about it. Offered kids time off for grieving, even had a candlelight vigil. I think his parents set up a scholarship in his name. Kids were acting distraught at the loss of poor Adrian. But to be honest, the guy was a jerk. He hated most of those kids at our high school. It was intentionally irritating to most people. He had extreme beliefs, which were fine, but loved berating people over things like commercialism if they bought a soda. The night he died, he was hanging out with his college friends. They threw his glasses into the road, and somehow he thought it was a good idea to walk blindly into the road if speed limit 45 to go get them. An old lady hit him going 35, and he died. So like just a stupid way to die. It is tragic his life ended early. I think he might have gone on to do some good things. But I wasn't heartbroken. I wasn't crying at a candlelight vigil for his soul. I wasn't wearing black armband in remembrance. It's like, yeah, that sucks. Not the a-hole. Someone who is truly sorry would accept that you do not forgive her. She would entitle to her friend/mom if she was truly contrite. You owe her nothing. It's not like you went out of your way to shove it in her face. As a matter of fact, you never even retaliated when her father died. Having terminal cancer doesn't absolve anyone of being an a-hole. And the bully made sure to apologize very publicly with tears, and an audience ready to clap at her amazing act of being so mature. It's almost as if the girl doesn't care about OP at all, but instead saw an opportunity to make a scene and get a shower of cookies. I believe in apologizing publicly if the offense was also public. But apologizing is about taking accountability for your actions. The bully just made a scene and put OP in yet another crap show. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother that it's only his son's fault that he was injured? My 41 male nephew Ian, 9 years old, visited us for Thanksgiving a while back. He was accompanied with his parents and children, including Ian. I have a bulldog in my house, which they know about. I told the kids to stay away from it, which they agreed to. It doesn't like strangers, and I did not want to take any chances. As they had said fine, well, I did not bother about it again until the incident happened. Ian walked towards his doghouse and began to yell and tease it. He apparently got so near him that the dog bit him and injured his hand. He screamed, and it attracted our attention. We rushed out and took him away. The dog was chained, but he was still barking. We took him to the hospital, and everything was confused as my sister-in-law was scared as well, including Ian's older sister. My brother David, 44 male, now accused me by saying that it's my dog and that I should pay the bills now. I refused, saying that I'd warned them and that it's Ian's fault. But he said that doesn't matter as it was my dog. We got into an argument and he threatened to sue me later and said I already know that he can't afford the best lawyers as he himself is one. I told him I am not doing it, but should I have? It's my dog and I am his uncle, so should I have paid? Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Personally, as a Canadian, I don't think you're the a-hole, but I really don't know how much that would cost. 9 years old is old enough to know better and he was warned. It's just I had warned him. I'm not happy he was injured, obviously, but it sounds really unfair to expect me to pay when I had told him before. The child and his parents learned an important lesson that day. Keep your distance from dogs you aren't familiar with, especially when the dog is in a safe space, indoor cage, or doghouse. Ian had a fool around and found out rating of 7 that day. He's lucky it wasn't his face. Not the a-hole. You warned him. He didn't listen. Parents should watch their own child if he wants to meet the dog. My ex used to tease my grandma's cat. Not maliciously, it was playful. But when the cat would lay down in her box, she was done. Tell me why I had to repeatedly tell this 20-plus-year-old man why he needed to leave the cat alone when she was in her box. He wasn't one of my best decisions. Not the a-hole. Even without a warning, teasing a chained dog is an a-hole move. I completely disagree with people who say 9 is too young to understand this. 9 is plenty old, especially in combination with the warning you gave. But seriously, even without a warning, a 9-year-old should know better. Your brother sounds like a serious a-hole. He's threatening to sue you? Jesus. The dog was a hazard limited to one part of the yard, with warning provided to all. At that point, it becomes no different than any other geographical defined hazard, like a cliff edge or a river or a pit. If an adult is to blame, it is the child's parents for not supervising their child. If a child walked off a cliff that the parents knew about, who would you blame? The first dog I lived with was a wolf/husky cross. While my parents' dog was friendly, it was also very big. We grew up learning to read doggy body language, and by age of 3 years knew when to leave the dog alone. We were also explicitly told by my parents' friends when to stay away from their dogs. Had we been bit, none of the dogs would have been blamed. In fact, my father's first question would have been, "Why were you pestering the dog?" Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom if she acknowledges her grandson, I won't talk to her anymore? I, 28 female, have a brother Elijah, 24 male, I do not speak with. I consider him dead to me. He molested my sister, has allegedly violated multiple women, and went to jail for a vague child exploitation charge, which we all presume is kiddie porn, since he's been caught multiple times talking to minors. My parents still talk to him for some ungodly reason. Last night, my father called me to say, "You're an aunt." When pressed, he said Elijah has a 1-year-old they just got the paternity tests back from. I said, "Then no the heck I'm not." Dad pressed, and I responded more firmly, "No, I am not an aunt." My parents know my sister Ruth, 21 female, and I do not have a relationship with this man, and actively hate him. My other sister has a very distant follow on Instagram kind of relationship with him. My mom got into a fight with Ruth, who called me in hysterics, because she and my other sister weren't excited about this baby. Elijah has admittedly beaten me to everything. He got a car first, that my parents paid for. He got married and divorced first, among other things. He has gleefully made a point to beat me to life milestones. I'm engaged and planning on having children a year or so from now, and I've always wanted to have the first grandchild. That is where I think I might be the a-hole. Perhaps my judgment is clouded with bitterness. I told my mother if she acknowledges this baby as her grandchild, I will no longer have a relationship with her, and my children will not have a relationship with her. To me, I can pretend she doesn't still have a relationship with Elijah if it's behind closed doors and she keeps her mouth shut about it. But if she allows this child to come and go in her life, she is openly recognizing her relationship with Elijah, and I can't forgive that. I am too protective of Ruth, and I feel like she's choosing this evil man over her other 4 children, one of which is still a minor. My fiancé and I have made it very clear in the past that Elijah will come nowhere near our family. And if she acknowledges his son, she is letting him into her life openly, and we cannot tolerate that. It is both a protection of our future children and a respect for Ruth. I am tired of thinking about my mother's feelings first, and always letting her get her way. I am putting my foot down on this. Am I the a-hole? Edit. It's not even about the baby. It is about allowing Elijah another foothold back into this family. My family has a tendency to forget all past crimes once a cute baby is around. Elijah will be allowed to slip back into our lives, endangering my minor sibling and all children my siblings and I have. Yes, I'm horrible for harboring resentment against an innocent baby. But it's not even about the baby. I cannot and will not allow my sibling to be hurt, or have Ruth be subject to my parents' indifference to her pain. She has already made a choice to not come home for Christmas over this. I would actually start by calling CPS and telling them your monster of a brother had a child, and you fear for the safety of the child. That kid is not at fault and should have nothing to do with it. Your goal should be getting that kid away from his dad and making sure baby mama knows what kind of person your brother is. You should bond with that kid just to make sure it's safe and okay. That doesn't mean you have any interaction with your brother. My brother violated me as well. He had a daughter. I reported him and told his wife and called CPS. The courts forced his rights to be removed and out a lifelong protection order. His daughter will never be forced to deal with him. It wasn't a quick process to get his rights removed. It took time, but it was successful. If he has gone to jail for child exploitation, he probably had to register as an offender. CPS and the child's mother definitely need to know this. I hope either the baby mama or the grandparents get full custody, with no visitation from this guy. If he likes girls and it is a baby girl, she's in danger of her being violated. If he likes girls and it is a baby boy, he will be raised to be just like his father. And take a giant leap back from this dumpster fire. I wouldn't bother with the ultimatum. Your parents are enabling someone who has done some truly horrific things. That makes them just as bad in my book. They clearly see no problem, so it's a lose-lose situation. I fear for that child, but it isn't a scenario that OP needs to be involved in. Plus, OP, do you really want to be around people like this? Would you want your future kids around this? I have spent many years, including before I found out about Elijah, wanting to cut contact with my parents. They have treated all of us like trash over the years. I said I would be out when my youngest sister graduated high school, and then they adopted my youngest brother when I was 19. Now I'm torn between going no contact and losing the brother I adore and maintaining this relationship from a distance for another 9 years. All I have ever wanted is loving parents, and I've been a fool to think they would ever change. I wanted my children to have grandparents. I love my grandparents. I wanted that for them. My 28 male, wife 32 female, keeps throwing divorce in my face over everything. I just agreed and left. I'm currently staying with my sister. My wife and I have been together for 5 years, married for 4. We've known each other for years prior. We have 1 kid together who is 4, and I am the primary breadwinner in the house as she is a stay-at-home mom. It was her choice not to go back to work. For the last year and a half, we have been having arguments about 1 to 2 times a month. To be clear, I do help out with our daughter. I clean, cook, and I'm involved with both of them. The first time she said she wanted a divorce was when we got into an argument when my sister called and asked if she could stay with us for a bit as she was having relationship problems, which is ironic now. I said she could, and my wife was not happy about that. I pointed out that her friend stayed with us a couple of months prior for 5 weeks and didn't do anything around the house. Plus, she was just there. No discussion, no nothing. She was a stranger to me and my daughter. While my sister is lovely and has a great relationship with our daughter, and I thought my wife was as well. She ended up staying with us for a week, helping out around the house, cooking, cleaning, and watching our daughter when needed. I thought we both forgave each other and moved on. The fights are usually over something small. 90% are not started by me. I have suggested therapy and counseling, but she always said we never needed it. Well, I had it last night. She picked a fight saying I was spending too much time at work, and that she feels abandoned, and that I'm not a good father. Then ended her rant with I want a divorce. I stood up and told her that the only reason I work so much is because she can't stop spending our money on things we don't need or use. She refused to get a job or go to school to help her out. I provide for the family, for my daughter. I'm always at her important dates, functions, doctor's appointments, anything she needs, while she refused to get help through therapy or counseling. I don't want this anymore, so I'll have my lawyer send her the papers when she writes it up. I got my daughter's things and left with her to my sister's. It has been 2 days now and she keeps calling and texting saying she is sorry, that she didn't mean it. She wants to go to counseling and therapy. She needs me, she misses me, etc. I don't know what to do. I love her. She is a good mother, but I can't do this anymore. Internet strangers, please help. Yes, I have a lawyer for my family to work, and I have known her since I was a teen. Now for the top advice. This is still only a snippet of your life. You still know your wife and life better than we do. Make the best decision for your daughter. That's all you can do. Toxic parents are the freaking worst, especially when they can't get over their BS for their kids' sake. You got this, king. Always put your daughter first. I agree with all of this besides putting your daughter first. I'm a mother, so let me explain. Put you first, and here is why. If you're in no type of mental condition to provide the best care for your daughter, because your wife is a stressor so she makes you stressed, then it falls on the daughter, either inadvertently or sometimes otherwise. What good would he be to himself or his daughter if he's unhappy and stressed? We as parents are always told to put our kids first, but our kids count on us to provide what they need. How good are we to them if we are unhappy? Put you first, while taking your daughter into consideration second. Either way, it seems that you both will be there for your daughter, so she will be good. But think about whether you want to spend the rest of your life with someone who doesn't even consider her own mental health, albeit yours, when y'all get into squabbles. Also, the top comment is right. This only is one portion of your life. We don't know the rest of the details. So again, do what's best for you, and the rest will follow either way. This is a very solid point. I don't think OP has done anything wrong, but honestly, his wife's behavior is of someone who is lacking internal stimulation. If she had a job or a proper routine outside of the house, maybe she wouldn't be picking fights over everything and anything. My partner got injured last year for 3 months. The fact that he couldn't go on runs and swimming sessions with his friends made him so unbearable. Same for me when I took the work from home option to the extreme and became a bit annoying too. Thankfully, none of us called for divorce nor offended each other. I gently told my partner that it was clear that he needed his time with his friends, and he gently told me that I needed to go more to the office to change my routine. Staying in a comfort zone can be dangerous if we are never challenged. I had the exact same situation. After the 500th time of her saying we should get a divorce, I finally agreed. Of course, her version of the story later was that I left her, but even that wasn't worth arguing over. My best advice is that even after divorce, you will need to work things out with her on things regarding your daughter. So don't do anything mean or spiteful during the process. Wait a while to see other people after you move out, or she will assume you are cheating on her with any new person. You can't make other people happy. She needs to be responsible for her own happiness. Don't be angry. Just say, I love you and I want you to be happy. But it's clear I can't do that. So you're right, that we're better off getting a divorce. And then don't waver on that decision. If you don't mind, I might end up saying something similar to that. People that say things are fine and refuse counseling while blaming all the problems on the other spouse, then promise wild changes to stop the divorce, aren't to be trusted. They're perfectly content being taken care of and having no responsibility for their own happiness. They make promises to keep you from changing and then go back to what is comfortable and easy for them. Right now, your stay-at-home wife's whole world is upended. She's losing her comfortable home, will need to share custody of the child she had 100% of the time. She's going to have to support herself. I'm not a lawyer, but where I live, alimony payments aren't for life. they're often just half the duration of the marriage. The courts will see she's young and capable of having a career still. Child support payment are until the child is 18 at a percentage of your income and how much custody you have. So she knows she messed up. My advice is that you go through with the divorce, even if you love her, and consider going back after you've seen her change. She gets a job, she gets therapy. Next story. I left my husband the day after our youngest moved out. He says I've deceived him all these years. My female 49 husband, male 51, cheated on me. It was 10 years ago when I got a call from school saying that our youngest, then 9, was sick and needed to go home. When we arrived, I heard them in our bedroom. I panicked, made loud noises to let them know they weren't alone and that our daughter was with me. I'm crying just writing this. I still cry whenever I remember that day. The first year after that was the hardest on me. I felt so insignificant and inadequate, ugly and undesirable. We started therapy and my husband promised to do anything to make it work again. We moved apartments and bought new furniture, and I started a new habit of changing the sheets every night before bed. But all of this wasn't as effective as that one morning when I woke up and realized that I wasn't in love with my husband anymore. After this realization, everything seemed easier moving forward. I saw him as a roommate and a great support raising the children, a good friend. We love our children and we wanted the best for them. And for these next 10 years, we hardly ever fought. And we raised 3 beautiful, happy, and successful young people. When I realized that I didn't love him anymore, I also stopped caring what if he did it again. It was one of my nightmares in the beginning, but I didn't care anymore as long as I slept in clean sheets every night. Around Christmas, our youngest daughter, who is now 19, got her first contract for her own apartment. And that's when I knew that I was free. I also set in motion my plans of moving out and getting my divorce. I found myself an apartment too, and I thought my husband can live in our apartment until we settled everything up. But when I told him and handed him the divorce papers, he was in shock. And when I moved out the day after my daughter, on April 2, he was even more shocked and distraught. Now he is telling me that I have deceived him all these years, acting like I was fine when I wasn't, while he lived in regrets every day for how he hurt me. That I am cold and calculated and vindictive. I don't recognize any of these accusations. I don't see things that way. I saw it as me, and him of course, doing the best with what I was dealt to make a happy and content life for our children. Our whole family really. And I think that I succeeded. What more could anyone ask of me? Edit. I'm thankful that you are reaching out. I'm sorry I can't chat with all of you. I will try to answer women/men who are going/went through similar situations and I want to help. Yes, we're still intimate. It started again 2 to 3 years later. We used protection though because I wouldn't let him touch me without. I said we hardly ever fought, but if we did, it was about intimacy and the rubbers. Also, it went from 2 to 3 times a week to 2 to 3 times a year. In my mind, if he cheated when we were very intimate and active, he was probably cheating now. It bothered me less and less with years. I don't know how long they were sleeping together. I don't know who she was. I never wanted to know. I just saw her once and that was the only thing I didn't want to know in therapy. I don't know if he still slept with her or others. I just assumed he did because it was easier for me to expect the worst. I never said love you to him again. Something we used to say often before. He continued saying it. It always told me that he would wait for me to say it back. I didn't need to leave to find happiness sooner. I was happy and lucky having my children and my home. I didn't need more. But now I see no reason or happiness in staying. I never did what I did to get back at him or to get revenge. My children know I have left. They are sad, but my reason was good enough. I was out of love with him. They don't know the details and we are keeping it this way. They don't need to know anything. No, I don't change my beddings every night now. I have no need. Acting like I was fine when I wasn't. Meanwhile, she changes the bedsheet every night and cannot be intimate without protection. Dude has no concept of what fine looks like. I never again told him I love you in 10 years. Not once. I'm not sure how we didn't come to the conclusion that she was checked out. I think I'd noticed something was up after less than a week. Way too many men interpret checked out as everything is fine. Because when most women check out, they stop fighting since they just don't care anymore. Men think no fighting means the problem is solved. This is what happened to me. My ex punched me in the face, and I checked out for 2 years until I had saved enough money to leave. He thought we were doing good because we didn't fight anymore. You didn't deceive him. You have been fine all these years. You just never told him why, and he clearly never asked. This is the most telling thing. He never noticed how disengaged she became. You generally don't behave the same with a roommate as you do a partner, and intimacy can be just that. It doesn't have to have the deep meaning it can have between two lovers. I say they went to therapy, but I'm not sure it was a good therapist, or if the ex-husband really put in the work. And he apparently thought her changing the sheets every night after he cheated was a normal behavior, and didn't at all indicate that she still didn't trust him. Your husband has some audacity blaming you for deceiving him. He was cheating on you in your own home. He was living in guilt because of his own actions. If this was me, I wouldn't care about what he says about this. I wouldn't really even bother giving an explanation. Last story. I feel betrayed by my soon-to-be ex-husband and his new girlfriend. Yesterday at my 35-week prenatal appointment, my soon-to-be ex-husband let me know that he's dating a new chick. To be honest, I felt nothing of the knowledge that he is dating someone new, because this is the reason we are separated, and it has taken me a while to break the feelings I have for this man. Now, what pisses me off is this fool telling me that girlfriend is wanting to be part of my baby's life, and that she wants to meet me blah blah blah, which I politely put up boundaries and shut down her being involved in our kid's life until they have a more serious relationship. He tells me she lives in a different state and other inconsequential bull that I really didn't want to know, but whatever. Also, he swore me to secrecy about this, and that he doesn't want his family to find out about this girl, because my ex-mother-in-law still blames his infidelity on his anti-depression medication, and that my baby would need its parents together, and that we need to work in our marriage. Even though I recently found out that my ex-brother-in-law, mother-in-law's oldest son, cheated on his wife, and that my mother-in-law is all for them getting divorced, and that she wants sister-in-law to get everything. Well, here's the betrayal. This girl not only lives in our town, but works at my job and has been for months. She knows me and had met me on a few occasions, and I feel super violated. This man lied to me about this girl and thinks it's okay. When I got upset about finding out the truth, he made me feel like I'm crazy, and that his girlfriend didn't want the drama. WTF. I feel like my place of work had been invaded, and that them keeping this secret for so long is so deceitful. I'm about to have this man's baby. We are separated. We have only been separated for 6 freaking months. How is any of this real right now? I feel like I'm about to walk on stage of Jerry Springer and deal with crazy girlfriend drama. I know people deal with worse, but damn, why me? Why can he move on while I'm here, a human incubator who he beat down emotionally for 5 years, and he can move on to someone else and then not warn me that that person invaded my place of work and neither had a boss to say a word? I don't care if he has a girlfriend. I was supportive when he told me, but for some reason, the lying and her being part of my workplace caused me so much distress. Now for the comments. Honestly, it sounds like your ex-mother-in-law knows how bad her son is and doesn't want to have to take him back on because you guys are splitting. That's what happened with my parents. My grandmother knew how her son was and got mad that my mom kicked him out. She was so resentful that she stopped checking in on me and my brother. My ex is a difficult man to deal with, but his family has a lot of control and influence on him, and it caused a lot of issues in our relationship. They would make input in our life, and he would put the family opinion in higher regard than mine. The cheating was really the last straw. My ex had a lot of other issues that I just ignored. Sounds like it is a very good thing you got out. Yeah, I can agree. But unfortunately, I will have to share a child with these people. I also am still grieving a 6-year relationship. But at the end of the day, the bad outweighs the good. No idea why mother-in-law is going in this direction when she went the other way for her other daughter-in-law. If your soon-to-be ex is particularly challenging to live with, it may have something to do with not wanting him to come home to her. You just take care of you and your soon-to-be arriving baby. Don't worry about them. I hope you have friends and family who are supportive around you. Jesus, it really says something about the character of their mother if both sons cheated on their long-term partners. I am assuming the sister-in-law doesn't have kids, and by traditional standards, it is easier to support her leaving her other son than it is to support you since she likely holds the ideals that a kid should have 2 parents, as if marriage changes that. Put mother-in-law in timeout and explain she can either support you or get lost. Sister-in-law has 4 children with brother-in-law. I agree that she deserves all his worth because he's a POS. But my issue is that I was being basically pushed to reconcile, and she was basically given permission. Unfortunately, they only care about image, and to this day, it's not public knowledge about either of Farzan's divorces based on the info I have been given.